Welcome back, everybody. It is a new edition of the Unash and Dukes podcast coming your way here on crmlivesports.com, as well as the Facebook page for Unash and Dukes podcast, Instagram, X/Twitter, however you find us, and enjoy the program. We thank you for joining us here today. Scott Unash, that's Mark Dukes, and well, there's a lot to talk about and a lot to chew on since the last time we got together with everyone. First of all, want to thank Emel's Hideaway, our presenting sponsor. They're on First Avenue Southeast in Cedar Rapids, right across from the Lindale Mall and next to the Home Depot. And they are open at 4 o'clock Monday through Saturday. They've got catering available for you. They're a classic local American restaurants, something to satisfy all ages and tastes, and stop on by. They are, and all I know, one of them is not in a very good mood probably today, but, but it's always a great place to go. I was telling you before we got started, Mark, I'm not on the IL or DL, but I I did something to my back putting up Christmas lights yesterday before watching the Bear Packer game, by the way, which was a good ball game. That was a lot of fun. I know it wasn't as fun for you. It was more fun for the Packer fans, but it was a heck of a ball game. And you very succinctly said my problem, right?
I did. The first bad move you made was thinking about putting up Christmas lights. Is there a competition in the neighborhood, or have you always
No,
done that?
not really. I mean, we're not those people that go all out.
You're
And
not
I was
Griswold. You're not Griswold.
no, no, no,
Okay.
no, no. I was just putting some up on the window and I stretched something I shouldn't. I went one way and something went the other way. And so I was in misery last night, and that was even before watching the Chiefs. But
Maybe that'll fix part of your golf game. I don't know, the bad back.
well, we have a ways to go to figure that one
Yes,
out.
we do.
I don't think we're going to be playing golf anytime soon. But happy December to everybody out there. And not only thanks to Emel's Hideaway, but also some of our other great sponsors, Bim Ritter Sportswear in Cedar Rapids, Hunt Graphic Innovations, as well as Bim Ritter. I mentioned Bim Ritter Sportswear, Hunt Graphic Innovations, Kurt Gustafson Agency of American Family Insurance, and Dr. John Wolner at Epiphany Dermatology on Council Street Northeast in Cedar Rapids. Couldn't do it without them. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor, get a hold of us through probably through our Facebook page. You can go through crmlivesports.com as well, and let us know you want to come and be a part of all the fun. I had a lot to talk about Friday, Mark, with Matt Campbell, and it has now come to fruition. Iowa State has a brand new head football coach. It was a very, very interesting 24-hour period, maybe not even a 24-hour period in Ames. And I guess we start there because there are a lot of things, a lot of sidebar stories coming out from what happened and the fallout of Matt Campbell, now the head coach of the Penn State Nittany Lions. But I gave it an 80% chance. You were way above me. I tipped my hat to you. You were correct.
Well, yeah, a lot has happened since we last talked. Campbell to Penn State, Jimmy Rogers to Iowa State. Cyclones defeat the number one team in the country in basketball on
They didn't defeat them. They humiliated the Purdue
they did indeed.
Boilermakers.
But just an amazing 24 hours or whatever, however many hours it was. But, and then we've got the college football playoffs being set and decisions being made across the board. And as you said, those sidebar stories are probably as interesting as anything. But Jimmy Rogers met the media today and almost at the very top and talking about himself and Matt Campbell. He made the comment, we're being forced to make decisions we wouldn't normally make. And he referenced that to the calendar in college football. And I think he's quite right about that. He didn't go into it in depth, but I don't think he really needed to. That so much about college football right now just doesn't seem right in a lot of respects. And as I said, Rogers referenced that today that, Matt Campbell in an ideal world, he probably would have liked to coach Iowa State in a bowl game and then considered going to Penn State. Rogers would have liked to probably coach Washington State in the bowl game that it is involved in. But that's not the case. Things happen boom, 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 boom. And it leaves some residue, I think, more than anything else.
It does, and I think the it will get more in depth into the college football playoff and in the bowl scene and what that's going to look like maybe in the next. I don't even think you can say 5 years. Next year, perhaps, with the bowls and how the college football playoff is populated and what it looks like even next year. But if I've said it before, I'll say it again. If there was ever a time, this is every time you read more or just look at the world of college football, I think just need to take a shower because it is just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. Something's got to be done. There's got to be a commissioner of college football. Bottom line, I don't care if it's Nick Saban. No one's going to want Nick Saban because he's associated with Alabama, for God's sake. And, the world revolves around the University of Alabama. I learned that this weekend. Um, Whoever it may be, somebody has got to stop the craziness that is out there in college football right now. It's not the greatest in other sports. I mean, college basketball's calendar is not perfect, but there is nothing worse than what is going on in college football right now. With the portal opening up like this, in the midst of bowl season or getting ready for a bowl season, you got coaches being fired if they lose 3 games in a row. Uh, you've got teams that are not electing to play in bowl games. It used to be individuals. Remember that? Started off with one individual, Mark, Christian McCaffrey, Iowa and in Stanford in the Rose Bowl. I I miss those carefree days, and now it's just like you said. I don't think there's a doubt in the world Matt Campbell would love to coach the Iowa State Cyclones one more time. And if he could, Iowa State would be playing in a bowl game. They'd be in Houston more than likely, playing in the Texas Bowl against LSU. He's not. You can't do that in this day and age. They've got to agree upon a commissioner. This is getting out of
Yeah,
hand and it needs to be stopped.
I think we've gone so far down the hole that I'm not sure one person can fix it. Many aspects to college football that are need fixing, but we're going to tune in on a shooting Saturday to watch football, right? Because it's a great game. The game itself, when all the components are there, we watch the conference championship games. It was good TV, but the sidebar aspects of it are so out of whack that I'm not sure. It's getting worse, Scott. As you said, it was used to be one player, Christian McCaffrey originally. Last year, Cam Ward played a half, and other starters only played a half for Miami, and Iowa State came back and got a victory. Credit to the Cyclones, but I never thought I'd see a day where teams just up and say we don't want to play in a bowl. I mean, Iowa State has won the majority of its bowl games in the last 25 years. There was a day that they would clamor for a bowl game, clamor for a season, and Iowa as well. No question about it. It's different now. It's 2025. I think teams feel entitled, i.e., Notre Dame. Others are just saying, we've had enough of this. You know, and Notre Dame and Iowa State and Kansas State opting out of a bowl game for different reasons. I thought, since when do the employers tell the bosses what they're going to do? And the employees, I'm sorry, The employees are clearly the players, especially since they're being paid now. Since when do they tell what the bosses, who are the coaches, the athletic directors, the fans, the boosters, what they're going to do? They take a team vote and say we don't want to play in a bowl game, either because we got screwed by the college football playoff committee, or we don't have enough players to practice, which is crap on Iowa State's part. That was the official release. We don't have enough healthy players. Bull. That you don't have enough available players, either because we might have some people transferring and we don't have enough available coaches because they're leaving to go to Penn State. The statement was a lie on the part of Iowa State. It wasn't because they don't have enough healthy players. If you don't have enough healthy players, you got a real problem. So again, now we have teams that are saying, we're 10-2 in the sake of Notre Dame. Yeah, we got we got robbed, so we're gonna take our ball and go home. They act like a bunch. They're having a hissy fit over it. Notre Dame, in my opinion, we're all left the impression that they're spoiled and entitled, and maybe they are.
Yeah, Notre Dame is a 3-year-old at Toys R Us that's throwing a fit right now in the middle of the sport. And more on Notre Dame coming up. I want to get kicked back to Iowa State, and I, as much as it pains me to say, I agree with you. I listen with all the roster as big as it is. Yeah, you're gonna have injuries. There's no doubt you're gonna have injuries. I'm not buying for 1 minute that there are so many injuries, and maybe it is because 50 players are going to leave. Now, Coach Rogers coming in today, we talked about it. It's just like Caden Proctor with Alabama back a few years ago. When Alabama, Nick Saban left, Kalen DeBoer came in, everybody was leaving out. They have 70 players that are going to get the portal. Well, as soon as DeBoer came in, talked to the team, everybody settled down, and it was back down to a very manageable number that was leaving. Chris Williams, the Cyclone Fanatic, said that. One of the many tweets, good tweets that he had over the weekend, said that here's the bottom line: just everybody calm down at this point. This is the situation we live with right now. It's going to play itself out. Some guys are going to turn back if you read between the lines, and I think that's what's going to happen. What concerns me for Iowa State is I guarantee you there are many, many, many players in that locker room whose hearts are broken. If there's a senior and, especially guys that are walk ons, one more time to put on the jersey and by Democratic vote or whatever, you don't get that opportunity to do so one more time. I feel for those guys. I feel for the fans. I feel for all the the trainers and students that are associated with Iowa State. I feel for the band for Iowa State. I feel for the donors for Iowa State. Um, it wasn't the year they wanted, but 8-4 is not bad, and you were going to go to a very good bowl game. And I was floored, floored. You were the first one to tell me that they were going to pass in a bowl game. And I had to look at it twice. Your text to me. I said, "No way. Are you kidding?" And like you said, 20 years ago, would anyone have turned down a bowl game? No. And now it's going to become, I think, the next big thing. It used to be players. Are you going to play in a bowl game? And now it's teams that are not going to play for a bowl. And I feel bad for those people for Iowa State.
You know what? Get over it. That's my response to Iowa State and Notre Dame, and Kansas State lost its coach and now has a coach in place, Colin Klein, that you could go to a bowl game if you wanted to. Now, teams don't make, most of the time, don't make any money going to bowl games, okay? In fact, sometimes lose money. I don't think that's really the point. The point is a reward for a season well done in most respects. Um, a chance for fans to follow along to Vegas or Detroit or Phoenix or Tampa or wherever they want to go.
Detroit
There's a lot of good
may not want to put in.
there's a lot of good aspects to bowls, but they are being eroded by these decisions by schools, and particularly players to not play in bowl games. I think the Bulls are in a bit of trouble right now. ESPN is in a bit of trouble right now, and figuring out what to do. I think until you have a signed contract by athletes at schools, a signed contract either with the NIL or whatever. I mean, you sign a letter of intent. What does that mean? Okay, you get a scholarship to play football. Well, play football. Um, Conferences have a contract with bowls and television networks to play in bowl games. That's why Iowa State and Kansas State are being fined $500,000 for not going to a bowl game. And for Iowa State, this is a program that's $25 million in debt over each of the next 5 years. $500,000? Okay, fine. Maybe you ought to take up a collection among the players who decided not to play in the bowl game and have them pay the $500,000. Maybe that would change the players' minds. And I get it; it's a long season for Iowa State and Kansas State. It started in Dublin in mid August. I mean, that's a very long season. But just because you lost your head coach, you might lose a few players in the portal. To just turn down a bowl game. I just don't get it, I guess.
No, I don't get it. And to segue into the bowl system and getting back to Notre Dame, and we'll get to the reasons why Notre Dame is not playing ball right now, literally and figuratively. But um, what is going to happen to the bowl system, Mark? I mean, everyone believes at this point that the big four letter word of ESPN is controlling everything in the world, including the college football playoff committee. Um, a lot of people have made the suggestions and the undertones in the last 24 hours. People that are pretty well respected too, as far as the college football world is concerned, that the bowl hierarchy is going to go away. And there are some other suggestions out there that we will get to in a moment. But yes, there are too many bowls out there. We know that. We have talked about that on a former platform, including this one, many, many times. There are too many bowls out there. Used to be if you were 6-6, you didn't get to go to a bowl. And you clamored to get that seventh win. Sometimes you got it, sometimes you didn't get it. But to, it's all you talked about Iowa State owing $500,000 and not making anything as far as the usually not making a lot or losing money on a bowl trip. The conference is getting money, and the conference is giving you money in all this. And for ESPN and Notre Dame too. Notre Dame's on ESPN. They carry Big 12 games, they carry ACC games. There are Notre Dame games on NBC as well. They're kind of in their own little island, depending on who they play. But that's turning your back kind of a little bit on your gravy train that's helping you out right now. And that's just another reason why this is such a peculiar decision.
Yeah, for Notre Dame, it has taken the its ball and ran and said, you know what, I don't like what happened, and we're not going to play ball with the rest of the bowls. Is the bowl system in trouble? I think it is. But the bowls mean different things to different people. The bowls, aside from the college football playoffs, mean it means something different to Notre Dame than it does Georgia State or Miami of Ohio.
Or Missouri
There's
State, who petitioned to get into a bowl.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so it's not a one size fits all type thing as far as the bowls go. I mean, Notre Dame next year, they struck a deal with the college football playoffs that if they're ranked in the top 12 next year, they're in automatically, which isn't true this year. We can debate all we want whether Notre Dame should be in. If it was a true college football playoff, of course it should be in. We can debate whether it should be Miami or Notre Dame. But the real problem in the college football playoffs is not whether Miami or Notre Dame deserves it. And we knew we were going to have this debate 2 weeks ago, right? Or before the season even started, who the next best team. The real problem is the Tulane's and James Madison's. Without them, good for them. They're going to get waxed in the first round. Tulane plays Ole Miss. Ole Miss beat them by 35 points and three touchdown underdog. And they're going to get beat so few times does the group of five team that gets in have a chance. Boise State did. And Boise State should have legitimately been in. James Madison is ranked 24th in the final college football rankings. Tulane is ranked 20th. Iowa is one spot ahead of James Madison. Should Iowa be in the college football tournament? No. So why should James Madison and Tulane be in?
Because the ACC
Because
was
every need,
awful. That's why. And who's in
well,
bed
they
with?
got they got a team in, and it wasn't the regular season champion, and it wasn't the playoff or the championship game winner. It was another team, that being Miami.
Who beat Notre Dame,
Miami
by the way?
and Texas A&M.
The funny thing is that Notre Dame is in bed with the ACC in football. A lot of their
For
schedules,
different sports.
yep, a lot of their schedule is made up of the ACC teams. If Miami, Notre Dame can blame their brethren in the ACC for the Fighting Irish not being in there. If Miami did what they should have done and gone through there and won the ACC, yeah, there wouldn't be a James Madison in there. And there wouldn't be, Notre Dame would be in there. Everything would be good for the Irish. Now I'll ask you this, and I think it's going to happen. And I think it's going to happen because Notre Dame is holding their breath. We're going to have 16 team playoff next year, Mark. Are you convinced of that?
More so than ever.
There are people talking about a 24 team playoff like they do in FCS Division 1. 24 teams, Mark. Um, to me, that's too many. That does not make your team elite if you're playing on the first day of the college football playoff. If it is indeed going to 24, and more than likely it will, because you're going to see the bowls start to perhaps go away. And it's this is just a really, really bizarre situation. And I
Just
don't even think we're at the tip of the iceberg yet.
just for the same reason you're not in the lead basketball team if you're in the first four. And you're not in the lead basketball team if you win I wouldn't say bogus conference, but the Horizon League or whatever league, and you get a 16th or 15th. It doesn't mean you're elite. You get in the tournament because those are the rules. James Madison and Tulane are in because of the rules. And Notre Dame should be upset about the process and the rules more than being snubbed by the committee. They should be upset that Duke beat Virginia in the ACC championship game, allowing James Madison to get in pretty much. Um, of course, if you're going to have the best 12 teams in the country, Notre Dame should be in the tournament. But as it is now, the way it's set up, you're going to have this.
And you signed off on it, Notre Dame.
Yeah.
You signed off on this. It's ah, it's just infuriating. Then
But
there's
you're
the
not
whole,
good enough. But you're not good enough to play BYU in the Pop Tarts Bowl.
which would have
Sorry,
been a,
we didn't get. That would have been a great game.
it would have been a great game. One of the most intriguing games of the bowl season is going to be Clemson and Penn State in the Pinstripe Bowl. Who would ever thought that? Clemson and Penn State were both thought of as they were in the top 10, weren't they? In your favorite bowl of the year, the preseason bowl.
Well, let's just compare Iowa State and Penn State. Penn State just over the weekend got its head coach. Terry Smith, I'm sure, is going to coach the team in the bowl game. They didn't say, "Oh, we don't have enough healthy players," or our players are going to go in the transfer portal, or our coaches are going to leave. No, and Washington State didn't do that either when they lost Jimmy Rogers to Iowa State. They said, "Yeah, heck yes, we want to play in a bowl game," and it will. That's another reason I don't get what Iowa State and Kansas State did because other teams are in virtually the same situation and made a different decision.
Can we won't, I understand, because it's a money situation. But maybe down the line when this thing does go to 24 teams, and it is going to go to 24 teams, Mark, and then it's going to go to 32 teams. And then if you're 7-5, you're going to make the college football playoff, which let's hope to God we're not doing a podcast when that happens. uh it's it's time to get rid of these conference championship games. Make the regular season champion be your conference champion. Alabama took so much heat, and people have to realize Alabama was a 10-2 football team, won at Sanford Stadium between the hedges at Georgia. They are one of the 12. Would you agree Alabama is one of the 12 best football teams?
You bet.
But now, since they lost a game they are forced to play in the conference championship game, that gives them a third loss. And that's kind of where all this started from. Can we get rid of the conference championship games?
I don't think it's going to happen, but it'd be a wise idea. I mean, there's ideas that Rick Neuheisel forwarded the idea of having the bowl games at the beginning of the season, which I don't know how that would work. You just pair it up like the ACC Big Ten Basketball Challenge or something like that. I don't know. But the conference championship games have had an influence on the college football playoffs. Look at Arizona State last year out of the Big 12. It benefited greatly. Alabama didn't suffer by that loss to Georgia on Saturday night. Um, maybe teams suffer by not playing in a championship game. I think, BYU had to play Texas Tech a second time and got beat by a similar score. And BYU is the second team out of this tournament. Um, I mean, the conference championship games are made for TV. Um, don't tell that to Indiana, though. And by the way, I was wrong about the Hoosiers. Apologies to Kurt Signetti. Um, look me up. Google me. I'm sometimes wrong, Kurt. Uh, Indiana got the number one seed in the playoffs. It benefited Indiana greatly. Had to earn it. Didn't penalize Ohio State greatly. Ohio State's the three, right?
Yeah.
So, but by and large, I don't know if I'm torn because it can penalize some teams, but I enjoyed my Saturday and Saturday night.
It should not it should not hurt you to play in that game.
How about set the tournament field before the championship games?
Good point.
Unless unless it depends on a Duke, Virginia, or Arizona State, Iowa State last year. Um, unless the conference championship game really means something. Um, I don't know. Like this whole this whole universe of college football, nobody has the ultimate answer, but everybody's got an opinion, right?
True. I was going to play in a bowl game. They are going to be going down to Tampa. An
I
old
was
friend.
wrong again. I was wrong again.
So was I. I thought it'd be Las Vegas, but the Huskers get to spend a wonderful New Year's Eve in Las Vegas. Iowa back to Tampa and Ybor City and all the trimmings around that. And that's the good news. Bad news is you may face the best player in college football. I'm going to say may because at this point, who knows who's playing in these games? Um, Diego Pavia, I think this should be the Heisman Trophy winner myself. Um, Iowa has not seen a quarterback of this ilk, probably. I'm going to go back to Antoine Randall L. Mark. Uh, this guy, if you've not seen him, and if you're a Hawk fan, do your homework, go out, watch a Vanderbilt game. This guy is a whole lot of fun. Now, his family in the stands is a little weird, but this guy is one whale of a quarterback. I think he's going to play, Mark, because he is the one that petitioned and sued the NCAA to get his junior college years back. And now there are people saying, well, I think Diego Pavia is going to play. Well, there's talk he's going to play next year because he went to court to get that extra year. Who knows in this world of college football? But this is going to be a fun matchup between Iowa and Vanderbilt.
Yeah, it's yet another year where Iowa's going to have to play a very tough SEC team and a very tough quarterback. We saw that when Iowa played Tennessee and had to face Iamaleava, who's now at UCLA, but Tennessee kind of shredded Iowa. Vanderbilt's
No,
about a
they
four
did.
point. No, they did. You were there. You saw the shredding. But this is going to be by the way, Pavia is the reason Caden Weegan played this year at Iowa because his Weegan's junior year out west in Council Bluffs ended up counting. So Caden Weegan, uh, both teams, Vanderbilt and Iowa, benefited from that junior college rule. But I agree, Pavia is, if not the front runner, one of the front runners for the Heisman Trophy. He's a dynamic quarterback, um, a double threat kind of guy. But this is a pretty complete team. It's one of the best offenses in the country. And it's going to be a real challenge for Iowa's defense. But I hope Pavia plays the whole game. And quite a contrast. Kirk Ferentz and Iowa is embracing the bowl game. Now, Kirk's old school, we know that. He thinks there's a reward for every bowl game, and there is with the extra practices and whatnot. But he doesn't expect any opt-outs among the Hawkeyes right now. That may be before game time, but I hope all the players on both teams play, and it'd be a big challenge for Iowa, I think.
I mean, a lot of black and gold in Tampa
Yeah, yeah.
around New Year's Eve. A little different. Vegas gold for Vanderbilt. And you're going to hear Anchor Down a whole lot because there sounds like there is going to be half of the city in Nashville. That's not country music fans is going to be coming down to follow the Commodores, which sounds really weird to say um, because if you follow college football, and you do if you're watching the podcast, Vanderbilt was kind of the Northwestern of the SEC, and this is their renaissance. They went through, got a brand new rebuild on their stadium in Nashville. Um, they've signed their coach to a long-term contract, even though there are rumors that some big-time blue bloods are trying to get him to be a coordinator. That ain't gonna happen. So this is gonna be a fun matchup. I think it's one of the more fun bowl matchups that is going to take place.
Yeah, I don't know whether Vanderbilt, you compare Vanderbilt to Northwestern or Indiana, take your pick. But I think this started with Vanderbilt a year, maybe a couple of years ago, where they start becoming competitive in the league. knocked off a team or two that it shouldn't have. Um, in the state of Tennessee, Vanderbilt's giving Tennessee a run for its money, at least in 20 the 2020s. Maybe not historically, but Vanderbilt's right there. And so I think it's gonna. I thought it was gonna be Vegas for whatever reason, but Iowa hasn't been to this bowl in 7 years. It's been there many times, but as far as Tampa goes, it's an okay place. Probably going to be warmer than when you were there last. Um, but should be a fun matchup.
Vanderbilt won Tennessee. Sorry,
Yeah,
Rusty. They did.
yeah.
Thanks to our great sponsors, Emil's Hideaway and First Avenue Southeast in Cedar Rapids, and as well as Hunt Graphic Innovations, Bim Ritter Sportswear, Kurt Gustafson Agency of American Family Insurance, Dr. John Woolner at Epiphany Dermatology. Couldn't do this without all their great help, and we do appreciate them so very, very much. We'll get to a little wrestling coming up on Wednesday. We'll have Mark on for a little bit. There's not a ton to talk about right now as far as college wrestling is concerned, but we'll get him on. And it is Cyhawk Week. And I think Wednesday night is going to be a whole lot more competitive than Thursday night is. Hats off to the Iowa State. Tell you what, if there's anybody in men's basketball playing better and shooting better than Iowa State is right now, I would like to see them. What they did to Purdue was just that was evil. I think it exposed Purdue a little bit, and it was. I've said for many years, basketball. I think more than anything is a sport of matchups. That was a bad matchup for Purdue with those two small guards. They are good. Lawyer had a horrible game. Smith was okay, but he couldn't carry that team. And Iowa State, with the height advantage they had, playing that physical defense on the perimeter, not only Purdue couldn't shoot the ball, they couldn't get the ball in and up court at times. And Iowa State's just smiling. And now it helps when you make your first 8 threes of the second half. That's going to make you a very good looking basketball team. But they were good looking shots. And Jefferson is playing as well as anybody right now. Lipsy distributing. Momshilovich, he's making threes. Nate Heisey's making threes. Right now, the sky's the limit. But remember, Iowa State had to start last year, too. They need to sustain it into the Big 12 season and through the Big 12 season. And we'll talk more about it on Wednesday. But I think Wednesday night, fun. Thursday night could get a little ugly. We'll see.
Yeah, Wednesday night is the women's game, number 10 against number 11. It should be a whale of a game. The Iowa women really drilling Rutgers, but what the Iowa State men did at Mackey Arena was had never been done before. Maybe one other team had defeated the number one team on the road like that. And uh, Iowa State's at least a top five team right now, if not better.
Number 4 today. Number 4 in the poll. So, and they deserve it. I thought they'd be higher, but Arizona, the new number 1, by the way, another Big 12 team.
Yeah, Duke's going to be there. The Michigans are going to be there. A whole lot to sort out. But as you said, Iowa State got off to the start last year. And Thursday night, I don't think is going to be a great game, a competitive game, at least as competitive as Wednesday night with the women.
Wednesday night, I think, could be an all timer.
Yeah.
This might be the best Iowa State on paper matchup in history. Would you agree with that? And on the women's side,
Yeah, I don't know the whole history, but it's got to be right there. Last year was a pretty good matchup, but not often you get two top 10 or 11 teams in the country facing off. So, yeah, it should be great.
well, we'll talk more about that. And we got
Yep,
some good things on the horizon as well for the podcast, Mark. So don't know if you want to let the kitty out of the bag. You will when you in your good time.
I will. I think I'm going to let it simmer a little bit, but we've got a couple great guests coming up that I know people are going to want to tune into, and we'll give you a notice of that very shortly.
Good. That's a good tease right there. Very good tease. All right. A lot to get to. I got to go shower after talking about the college football playoff. and I'm sure others probably in their own way as well. But all right, Mark. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to you. Thanks to everybody for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next time.
Talk to you then.
All right, it's been the Unash and Dukes podcast. Thanks for listening and viewing, everybody. We'll talk to you next time.